So I'm going to share with you today on this weekly wealth walk why most people shouldn't actually invest. And you're going to be surprised by this. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to another weekly wealth walk. This is Fetta. I'm going for a hike today. I'm at Bronson Canyon. This is beautiful. This is just outside Los Angeles. Super gorgeous back here. Look at that. So I like to do these weekly wealth walks to, share real stories of mine, stories of members that I'm working with, clients I'm working with, things that I observe. And I had a call yesterday with someone, and this person was like, I'm ready to invest. When I do these calls, if I'm meeting with some of my VIP members, this guy's a lifetime member of mine. So we did a meeting, we went over his progress. And he's like, I'm ready to invest. I've got the money set aside for it. I've got my trust and my LLC and all this stuff going. And I actually told him not to. I was like, hey, I don't actually think you are. And I want to share with you why that is. Most of the time when we invest, especially as new investors, we severely underestimate what it actually takes. Severely. Like we think it's going to be passive. We think we're just going to put money in and magically money is going to come out the other side. Nothing bad's going to happen. Everyone has good intentions. Everyone is competent. Everyone knows exactly what to do. And we're just going to sit there at the end of the slide catching money. That's literally what most people picture. You might not think of it as naive sounding as that, but if you look at, if you're the average person, you're a new investor, that's about what you think. Maybe worded in your own way, but I'm using that to exaggerate the point of this is not how investing works. Hang on, guys. Check this out. Look at that. I love nature and beauty. This is totally a part of wealth for me. Leading a wealthy life, it means I've got to be out in this stuff, enjoying it. What's the point if you've got it and you don't use it? So anyways, back to my story. So that's what most people think. They think it's going to be like this Brady Bunch financial thing going on where they just make money and don't have to do anything. And the reality is it almost never turns out that way. So let me share a story with you of mine. For the first number of years in my career, I was a financial advisor, okay? I worked for Wall Street. I had my licenses. I would sell people the mutual funds and the retirement plans and all that kind of stuff. I quickly started to realize how much manipulation and corruption happens in those investments and that the average person doesn't actually make that much money. A lot of it goes to Wall Street. Most people don't understand what they have, all the problems. If you've been watching any of my content, you're probably on the same page with that, where you're like, Wall Street's not the first group that I'm thinking of giving money to. There's a lot of other places I'd rather put it. And wow, let me just show this up close. Look at that. Incredible. Again, back to my story. I start learning about investing and, I'm in my early 20s. I think I've cracked the code because I'm studying what do the banks do? What do the 1% do? And I've talked about this before. Knowing what someone does doesn't mean that you're going to be able to do it the same way. Doesn't mean you've got all the information. But I thought I did. And so I started investing and I see really quickly there's a lot more to it than I thought. And so, I found someone that I knew was doing a good job, that I trusted. And I was like, I'm getting rid of fake assets that aren't backed by anything like Wall Street and all the fees and the losses. And I'm trading that in and I'm going to get real assets now and I'm going to invest like the wealthy. And I thought I could just put money into it. I was like, okay, great. So this guy is going to run it all. He's been doing it for decades and I know him very well. I can trust him. So I'm going to take all of my money and I'm just going to put it there. And this is where people go wrong. It's the retirement concept that messed us up on this. So it's I don't want to be involved. I can run my business, I can, do my life, and I don't need to become a professional investor. I don't need to have that job. Someone else is going to do that for me. And so that's what I did. I took all my money, I put it in there, and for a while it went well. Here's the first thing. Your investment is going well until it's not. Everything is going well until it isn't, right? Your marriage is going well until it's not. Your physical health is going well until it's not. And so this went well for a while, and then one day it didn't. The guy lost money, a lot of money, millions of dollars, a lot of money. And so I'm sitting here, I'm like, wait. You're supposed to be the expert. This is supposed to be this magic real estate, being my bank kind of thing, and you're the guy that's gonna do all this. What do you mean you lost money? What do you mean you got defrauded? On top of that, it turned out he wasn't being honest. This whole idea of oh man, I've got real assets. I didn't have them. So I invested in a private fund and I had all the same stuff that I was trying to avoid with Wall Street. I was trying to avoid fraud. I was trying to avoid manipulation. I was trying to avoid deception. I was trying to avoid investing in stuff that's not backed by anything. And I ended up doing all of that, thinking that I wasn't. Now, I'm smarter and more experienced with investing, probably than the average person watching a YouTube video. If I was deceived or I was wrong with all of my knowledge, with all of my experience, like it is my full-time job doing finances, it's my business, it's my career. If that happened to me, how much more likely is that to happen to the average person? You know what I mean here? Like, it's not your full-time focus, and you don't know how to ask the questions that I asked and do the due diligence that I did, and I actually did. I was like, show me your profit and losses and financial statements. They showed me those. It turned out those were fake too. So it's like, you can't just give money to something and think, oh, I'm an investor, and returns are gonna magically come out the other end. So here's the thing, invest responsibly. Now, I wanna give you a different definition of responsibly, because when I used to hear responsibly, it's like invest responsibly, like drink responsibly. I was like, oh, that means don't do anything bad. Like, oh, you can do a little bit, but don't get drunk and go drive your car. Or invest responsibly, like, oh, you should act responsible. Be like, yeah, I'm a responsible guy, then invest. No. Investing responsibly means that you assume full causation over everything. You're the one that's like, I verified it, I did the due diligence, I looked at the accounting, right? And here's the thing, responsibility is followed up by doing whatever it is you needed to do for the thing that you've taken responsibility for. So if it was an investment, you also need to be willing to do anything you need to do regarding that investment. And if you're not willing to do anything you might need to do regarding that investment, including but not limited to managing real estate if you go through a foreclosure, selling assets, flying there, visiting people, getting involved in court proceedings, reviewing financial statements, like whatever it might be. That's what happens. That's what someone does after they've decided to be cause or be responsible for their investing. If you're not willing to do that, don't get involved. Like if you're looking at this and you're like, okay, I really don't want to get involved in property management, or I really don't want to have to worry about being potentially defrauded, or I don't want to really have to worry about dealing with expensive fees that might come up because I have a vacant real estate property that nobody lives in. Until someone moves in, I've got to cover the costs. I don't want to have to deal with that. Good. So you're not responsible enough yet for that investment. And it doesn't make you wrong. It means that that's not your fit. Okay, it doesn't mean that you need to become a real estate investor. That's the other thing I see is people are like, yeah, you have to do this for investing. And you look at your preferences, like, I don't like that. I don't want to be involved in this. I don't want to have to think about that. Those are preferences, not shortcomings, right? So you look at your preferences of the things you want and need or don't want to need from your investments, and you're like, these must be things that are wrong with me. I'm going to change them and get involved in stuff that actually conflicts with my values. That's not cool either, because now you're forcing yourself into a situation that actually doesn't align with you. That's not my version of integrity. So invest with responsibility, but then also invest with integrity. Like, stick to your guns. What do you know? Like, you know yourself better than I do. You know yourself better than your financial advisor does. You know yourself better than your broker does. You should be thinking with, I know me, what am I going to be cool with and not cool with, right? So if you say, okay, any investment I'm going to do, I'm going to assume full responsibility and I'm going to do whatever I need to do once I get into it, good or bad. And based on that, I'm not going to get into things that would conflict with me. I don't want to do blah, so I'm not going to invest in things where I might have to go do blah. It's really basic stuff. But this goes beyond just like returns and numbers. Anybody can show you a historical performance report. It doesn't mean it's going to happen again. Anybody can show you future projections. It doesn't mean that they're actually going to come true. You need to look at the substance of the investing. What's underlying? Third thing is, most people, if they are just looking for ways to get passive cash flow, like money you don't have to do anything for, do guaranteed products. Like literally, that's why there are insurances and annuities. You're not going to get rich off of them, but you're going to have the thing you want and need, which is I make money and don't think about it. Now, it's going to be on you because you'll have to offset the fact that you don't maybe earn quite as high of returns. But the reality is, like, if I'm someone that's like, okay, I'm really not going to spend time managing a property. I'm not going to want to deal with tenants. I'm not going to want to do all this extra stuff. Then it's probably better that I put my money into something that's a guaranteed financial product. I personally don't do annuities, but I would say if you're someone that's gonna have a problem if your investments go wrong, you should be doing annuities. If you're someone that's not gonna wanna put the time in to manage your investments, you should probably be doing annuities or guaranteed products. And at the very beginning of this video, I said that this whole thing started because of the retirement concept. Like, that was the first problem. Produce nothing, get something. Work 40 years, and then stop and somehow still get paid. And they used to give us pensions. So they caused the problem, but they also gave us the solution. They were like, hey, because you worked here, we're gonna take care of you. You're gonna get a pension. Well, in the 70s and 80s, that largely stopped, and it was put on us then. Hey, we still are gonna give you the problem of retirement, but we're not gonna give you the solution anymore. You need to actually be the one that figures out how to grow your money and where to put it. And so that was really the big change. And so people haven't adjusted to that. If you're now responsible for figuring out how to get the income, and there's this whole world out there, right? This whole world out there of things you could do. If you're looking at this and you're like, wow, this is not a problem, this is an opportunity. I can finally learn about investing the way that I want to, and I'm gonna spend the time to do that and really embrace it. Awesome, get involved in investments. But if you're looking at this and you're like, oh shoot, I've got to do that. I don't have time. I don't want to do that. Someone else should do that. I'm telling you, that's where guaranteed products would come in. So I hope this video here gives you some clarity on investing, what you should be looking for, what you should be avoiding based on like what your preferences are. But that's something I learned the hard way, and I hope it helps you too. So if you're watching this, it helped you, it was valuable, subscribe to the channel. You can grab a copy of my book. You can click the link below. My team will put the link there. You can get the book. There's a free training course that comes with it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.